was your faith a part of like wanting
Yes.
to kind of do the work of justice, like seeing this
Mhm.
maybe in scripture or the teachings of Jesus or something, or was it more of just kind of like a personal cause that resonated?
It felt like a relational glue to like me and the Lord specifically. I think because I grew up in a Christian environment, Christian family, it was kind of a neutral thing that I believed in.
Yeah,
It wasn't something that was personal to me quite yet
is the
until
culture.
kind of
Uh,
yeah, it wasn't something I chased after or I leaned onto, and really until trafficking became a part of kind of my identity, like fighting it, not
oh wow.
and so because when you start reading about the statistics and what's going on in the world, it's a very burdensome topic.
Hello, and welcome to the Simple Charity Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Grasso, and this is a podcast about learning to love generously like Jesus. On this episode, I interview Charlotte George, who felt a calling from a young age to fight human trafficking. She shares her story of raising funds to fight modern slavery while a student still in high school, and then continuing that passion as the now president of Baylor's International Justice Mission, or IJM chapter. For the past few years, Simple Charity had a formal partnership with IJM to support their student mobilization program. This fall, we actually canceled that partnership. IJM recently decided to take that program back in-house, but we at Simple Charity continue to be huge fans of what God is doing through this network of college students. So I'm sure you will find Charlotte's story as inspiring as I did. This is your podcast. So as always, please send me your thoughts, questions, and suggestions at brian@simplecharity.org. And if you enjoy this show, would you please take 2 minutes to rate and review us in Apple Podcasts and Spotify? Only a few of our listeners take this simple action, but it's super helpful for getting the show out into the world. So thank you so much for taking this action to help out our podcast. I'm so glad you're with us today.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I serve as a Simple Charity philanthropic advisor to individuals, couples, families, foundations, and family offices in the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area of North Carolina, but also to clients around the country. If you're curious about your own generosity journey and would like help thinking through a philanthropic strategy with intentionality to discern where God is calling you to love people, to find excellent nonprofits to partner with, or to understand the impact of your current grant making, I would love to connect and share more about Simple Charity's philanthropic advising offerings. You can connect with me at melissahall@simplecharity.org. That's melissahall@simplecharity.org. And you can learn more about us at simplecharity.org. That's simplecharity.org.
Hi, Charlotte. Welcome to the Simple Charity Podcast.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here, Charlotte. We're doing, I don't know if this is a series or it's just becoming a trope in this podcast where we interview student leaders who are like doing awesome, incredible things. And you have a great story to share with our listeners today. But before we get into all of that, what are you grateful for today, Charlotte?
Yes, sir. Well, today specifically, I'm very grateful just for my roommates. I am in college right
Mm,
now, and the Lord has blessed me with just four very godly women that I get to do life
mm.
with, and I am not taking it for granted. I'm saying this because we stayed up so late last night, as college kids do, just talking about our futures and just what God has been doing in our lives. And I'm just so blessed to get to spend all my time with them, especially the senior year in college. And before we
Mm.
kind of go off and become big kids, we just get these
Yeah,
really special moments together where we're pushing each other in our faith.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Charlotte, that makes me just miss it, you know? I lived with friends my senior year of
Mhm.
college as well, in an apartment off campus. And yeah, that community is really special. Like it's hard to recreate in your kind of 20s and adulthood and once there's kids involved and all of that. So yeah, so soak it
Lots
up.
of
That's
time to get
awesome.
to do something. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
awesome.
And so you're at Baylor in Waco, which is famous, I think, outside of Baylor, primarily for Chip and Jo, uh,
Yes.
who like
Oh,
put
yeah.
Waco on the map in a really kind of funny way. Oh, and then also there was a cult in Waco at
Oh,
some point.
yeah. The Waco cult.
Yes,
We get,
yes.
oh, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I think they might have talked about that in the podcast, "Devil in Deep Blue Sea," the Waco Cult. I don't know if you listen to that podcast, but anyways,
I don't think so.
um,
Lots of fun.
that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Anyways, this podcast is not about cults. But Baylor is has an international justice mission chapter, and for years, so Simple Charity partners with IJM to support their network of college chapters. And for years, Baylor IJM has been like the kind of leading, I don't know if I want to say flagship. I don't know if it was the first, but it's been one of the most productive chapters, raises a ton of money every year. And you're the president of it now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
Lots of
Yeah.
pressure. What?
Yeah, no pressure. Exactly. What? How did that happen? How did you become the president of Baylor IJM?
I'm sorry. Did you say how? Did I? It cut out a little.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. How did you become president of Baylor IJM? What was that journey? Well, my internet just went down. So apologies to the listener. I was just asking Charlotte a question, and the internet went down, so we're gonna cut that middle part out. But Charlotte, I was just asking you what led to you becoming the president of Baylor IJM, and if you could share that story with us.
Yes, sir. So I heard about IGM at a very, very young age, and it definitely influenced just kind of my life thereafter.
Hmm.
Specifically, Baylor IGM, it's kind of a funny story. I heard that IGM had different chapters at colleges, and I Googled like IGM chapters at colleges, and Baylor popped up, and I said, okay, I'm
Hmm.
going to that school, and I'm going to be president. And that's just really funny because obviously here I am 4 years later, and I was involved the first 3 years on campus, loved it. Being president, though, I wasn't exactly sure that's kind of what the Lord wanted for me. And so I almost walked away my junior year. But God was like, nope, you made a promise and you're going to fulfill it, whether you want to or not. And so I kind of just applied for the position on a whim. Didn't know if I was ready for it, for if I was what IGM needed at the time. But I got it, but it was all the Lord. It was His will, I guess. And here I am. And I am just really thankful that it all worked out because it has been such an amazing experience.
That's awesome. So you said you learned about IJM at a young age. And for those who don't know, IJM stands for International Justice Mission. They're really one of the world's leading global anti-human trafficking organizations, but they also strengthen criminal justice systems to protect people in poverty from violence, including gender-based violence, police abuse of power. But yeah, so I know you grew up in Tulsa,
Hmm.
and so when did you first learn about IJM's work?
Yeah, so I play the violin and I looked up to this Christian kind of violin band called the
Hmm.
Gettys. They're like an Irish Christian band and they have
Hmm.
violinists. And so my mom took me to one of their concerts in sixth grade because I was just obsessed. And they were actually advocating for IJM. And
Hmm.
I just remember sitting in that auditorium and them kind of showing a video and being like, hey guys, slavery still exists. We're raising money. Here's how you can get involved. And I just was shook. I was
Hmm.
like, I have what? Like, this is news to me. I thought of myself as a pretty smart person, at that age, obviously. I was going to a classical school. I knew a lot.
Hmm.
However, somehow I did not know that slavery was still going on in today's day. And it just like started a very small fire in me that just obviously grew as time went on. But I went home from that concert and I just got my first computer with my first email address. and I signed up for their newsletters and literally would just refresh my email every day. That was the only email I was ever
Oh
getting
my gosh.
for
This
like
is sixth grade?
doing. Yes.
So
Oh
you're like
yeah.
sixth grade, you're like, what is happening today in the
Yeah.
fight against human trafficking? I have to know.
hmm
Oh
I
my
just had
gosh.
to read. I read every newsletter for
Wow.
months. So yeah, it really just it was insane. I never heard anything like that before, and I couldn't just walk away and not care.
What was it that was resonant? Was it like just this kind of narrative of like, we learn about American slavery in
hmm
school, and then the story sometimes goes, and then the world dealt with the problem of slavery and now it's gone. So is it just kind of this like shock of realizing that slavery does still exist, or
Yeah.
was there a personal connection to it, or
I think just at that point in my life, my education I thought very highly of because
yeah,
I went to just like a classical preparatory school
right.
and I felt just like not lied to, but I just was
Hmm.
discouraged that something so really big was not something that was in my curriculum at the time, which is
Yeah.
kind of a big concept for a sixth grader to catch on to, but I don't think I necessarily knew it
Hey,
to that
never underestimate kids.
extent.
I
It
believe
was just
that.
I knew something was off. I knew this was like
Yeah.
a big enough issue that I should have known about it. And because I didn't, like, there was like a disconnect. Like, why? Why didn't I
Yeah.
know this? hmm
Yeah. So sixth grade, you're 11, let's say, something
hmm
like that. And this seed is planted. And then how does that seed kind of grow over the years? And then what does it turn into in high school?
Right. So it was kind of my own personal discovery there for a while. I didn't really tell people about it. It was just more of
Hmm.
me and my newsletter I would read. But about a month or two after that concert, I remember being in the car with my dad and just being so distraught. I was like, I'm looking at the IGM website. I'm like 11 or 12 at this point, and I'm like, there is nothing I can do to help. I'm
Hmm.
like, they don't have anything for kids my age. It's all for interns or jobs or donating. And like, I don't have an income, so how am I going to donate money?
Yeah.
And I just remember being so defeated. And my dad was kind of laughing at me. And he was like, oh, well, have you heard of fundraising? I'm like, what is that? So he kind of, for the first time, explained to me what people did to raise money for issues like this and how fundraising was a
Mm.
thing and people did it in event form. And then he like explained some of the fundraisers I had been to that I didn't really know they were fundraisers at the time, but now I did. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I'm going to do a fundraiser. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And at that point in my life, I was at, like I said, a private school. And so I was going to a lot of birthday parties, lots of really cool, extravagant middle school birthday parties where all these kids were getting these really cool gifts. And I was like, wow, they spend all this money and they get all these things that are really expensive. I'm like, I have an idea. I'm going to have a birthday party, but instead of gifts, I want people to spend the same amount and just donate it to IJM.
Mm.
And I was like, Dad, this is what we're gonna do. And he was like, no, we are not doing that. And I was talking to my mom about this yesterday, and she goes, we literally had to talk you out of doing a fundraiser for your birthday every year after that.
Mm.
Because my mom was just like, no, we're not doing that. Like that's a lot of work, or that would kind of be a bigger deal than I think you understand. Like I don't think like she just knew I didn't really fully get it yet.
Yeah.
But at the back of my mind, every year when my birthday came around, I was like, can we do this? Is this something that can happen? And they were like, no, we're not doing that. It was so funny. But again, trafficking was kind of a discovery of myself that I
Yeah.
didn't tell people until junior
Right.
year. I think that's when things really turned
Yeah.
for me. I was in a class discussion and I brought up modern day slavery and got a pretty like group effort from the class telling me that that wasn't a thing.
Hmm.
My
Tell me,
heart
tell me
sank.
about it. What was the context of why you were?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about history. It was like junior year, and we were talking about the history of World War One or World
Something.
War Two. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but we're talking about just issues the country of Russia was probably facing during this hard time. And so
Right.
people were saying obvious things like poverty or
Mm.
hunger or bombing, like war violence,
Mm.
this, that. And I was like,
You're like, probably human trafficking.
I'm like, bet human trafficking was a thing. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, like modern day slavery, I bet people were being like enslaved or whatever. And they're like, no, that's not a thing. Like,
Mm.
they just thought it was crazy. And I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I was like, there's no way these people don't know too. I thought I was the only one. I thought I
Mm.
was just the sixth grader that was behind the ball, but now I'm finding
Yeah.
out a lot of people know this is a thing.
Mm.
So that day I decided to make it my personal mission that all my kids at school would actually hate me because that's all I was ever going to talk about. And it is. Every paper and gave every speech. I even wrote my
Wow.
senior thesis on human trafficking after that.
Yeah.
I posted about it 24/7. I lost a bunch of followers and I just like
Yeah.
did not care. I was like, the world has to know. And that's kind of when advocacy, I discovered the art
Mm.
of advocating for something and how important it is because
Mm.
people really need to know for change to happen.
Charlotte, I'm curious about how your own like faith journey
Mhm.
played into this, or if it did. Your private school, I'm assuming it was a Christian school. Is that right in
Yeah,
Tulsa?
kind of, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Enough said. Tell me a little about your own kind of
Mhm.
spiritual development. Was
Yeah.
your faith a part of like wanting
Yes.
to kind of do the work of justice, like seeing this
Mhm.
maybe in scripture or the teachings of Jesus or something, or was it more of just kind of like a personal cause that resonated?
It felt like a relational glue to like me and the Lord specifically. I think because I grew up in a Christian environment, Christian family, it was kind of a neutral thing that I believed in.
Yeah,
It wasn't something that was personal to me quite yet
is the
until kind
culture.
of,
Uh,
yeah, it wasn't something I chased after or I leaned onto, and really until trafficking became a part of kind of my identity, like fighting it, not.
oh wow.
And so, because when you start reading about the statistics and what's going on in the world, it's a very burdensome topic
Yeah.
that to honestly care so deeply about. I don't think anyone without just kind of the Lord's presence can genuinely care to a deep enough level to do something. And
Wow.
so I recognized that this was a God-given passion. I recognized that without the Lord, I would have never cared as deeply as I did because that's not my human nature.
Mm,
It's just not to just selflessly want to give and care so much for people that you don't even know. Like of
right.
my own like sinful self, I would have never seeked that out. Seek that
Yeah.
out. Sorry, but
Saw it, maybe. I
sought
don't
that out. There you go.
know.
There's that education for you. But I recognize that this was the Lord working in me, which
Yeah.
means like he was something more than just where I went to church on Sundays. Like he was living, and
Yeah.
I really, through him giving me this passion, started to really want to get to know him because I want to get to know this God that is giving me this desire to really help people.
Mm.
And the more I get to know him, I think the more I'll get to know myself and how I fit into this just kind of big scheme of justice going on.
Yeah. One
But
of the things
you.
you said there I thought was really interesting.
Mm,
And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so tell me if this is like an accurate way of describing what
okay.
you said. But there was a burden to caring,
Mm,
to kind of having compassion, to kind of suffering, from afar with, um, yeah, like suffering with, is kind of like an idea of compassion. And
right.
and then that burden, it sounds like, also pushed you towards your faith more. So it's
Mm,
like actually learning about the weight of injustice and then being like, I have to do something about this, but I can't carry this weight and take action. One of the things that we talked about at a recent college chapter or college conference we had for students in IJM's program was one of the speakers had this phrase. He said, it's our work, but it's God's weight, and we do it Jesus's way. Our work, God's weight, Jesus's way. And there's like a freedom to be able to do something about injustice creatively and positively with this kind of fuel tank of the love of God that I think we have as Christians and as believers, and we don't have to carry the full weight of it, even as we try to grow in compassion and in love towards people who are experiencing injustice. Would that be like a way of describing kind of what your experience was like?
Exactly, yes. And
Yeah.
it just grew my faith too, as well. Just I know I
Yeah.
was talking about my wanting to do this birthday party, and I actually was able to do it for my 18th. My parents finally let
You
me, and
finally 7 years of
right,
of asking.
finally they said yes, and I mean that was a faith battle.
Mm,
That was probably some of the hardest months of my life leading up to that, just like
wow.
feeling this, wrestling with this idea that I was pretty much putting it out there that I wanted to raise all this money, and there was a very good chance that it wouldn't happen. And I was like, God, what on earth? Why are you making me do this? This is so embarrassing. Like, I'm going to be that kid that just failed in front of everybody. And he
Mm.
he really tested my faith during that season, because it was just it was hard, because I was 18 wanting to, I think it was raise 18 grand. And
And where were
that
you
was
gonna
very,
give were you gonna give the $18,000?
yeah. So when I first decided I wanted to do the birthday party, I kind of wanted to make it a little bit more local so that people in Tulsa could feel a bit more connected to the cause. And so
Yeah.
a lady in my neighborhood had started a nonprofit called Sister India, and they educate Indian women and now in Nepal. And through that, they indirectly just help with trafficking, because a lot of these women are trafficked because of their
Mm.
lack of education. And so I picked out her because she was a smaller nonprofit, not a lot of donors. And I just really felt that it was a way to connect trafficking and my passion to Tulsa and to the people of Tulsa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so the goal is $18,000 to help
Yes.
educate women in India,
Hmm.
and help them, have this kind of economic mobility that makes
Yeah,
them less vulnerable to human trafficking. And
exactly.
you're planning this event.
Mhm.
Where was the event? Like, how did you go about? Like,
Yeah.
how are we going to raise this money? Give us the story
The whole
of the
rundown.
birthday party. Charlotte George's 18th birthday party extravaganza to
Right?
fight human trafficking.
Oh, yeah, something like that, man. It was just, first, my mom and I kind of did like the foundation work. We came up with a slogan and like colors and a little invite. Like, I think it was, there's like a perfume brand called Chanel number 8 or something like that. That's totally wrong, but it's a C and then the number. So we did like Chanel number 18 because it was C18 for Charlotte's 18. And we
Nice.
put that on a poster board, put it on a little invite, and we chose Sister India. So we had like our people we were raising the money for. We had kind of a theme. Um, but now my mom was like, we need to get more people involved. She's like, we're going to
Yeah.
do bigger things the more people that are contributing. And so she made me email all these people asking for kind of sponsorships, like, hey, my name's Charlotte. I'm 18 years old, trying to raise 18 grand. Would you want to, get involved? Would you want to donate, or just give us some of your time or advertisement, whatever? So I emailed plenty of people. I think I emailed the governor. I emailed all of our banks, all these
Oh my
random
gosh.
CEOs around Tulsa, just asking that they would just help us sponsor this little event. Um, and then after I sent those out, I was like, we need a space. At that time, my best friend's parents owned a hotel. They were like, we have an event space you can use. I was like, oh wow, this is starting to get a little bigger than my just everyone instead of giving me gifts, just donate money. But
Yeah.
that was my mom's pull. She's like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this right. And I was like, hey, I'm all in. Um, so we decided to make people buy tickets to the event, and I invited the whole school, plus some more, maybe some people from church or just random friends we had in life. It was $18 a ticket, 18 for my 18th. We had someone donate food. So we had like all the food was donated, I think, by a friend. All the decor was donated. We had some people that did
Oh,
stage
cool.
for like colleges in the area, and they put together like a whole setup for me for free with
Mm,
all these beautiful lanterns, and just it was literally
mm.
insane. I don't know how they did it. And then we had someone donate a cake because it was a birthday. But we kind of just had all these really cool people who, when we kind of told them our story and told them what we were trying to do and advocate for, I think it was just kind of shocking to see an 18-year-old kind of care so much
Mm.
about something kind of so big that it wasn't hard to get people on board at
Yeah.
all. The governor ended up sending a check. Like we had a bunch of things.
Whoa. Wait, that's cool.
Oh, well, I forgot to mention his kids had gone to my school earlier as
Ah, okay.
family friends.
Yeah.
But
So you're kind of in the like, I don't know how to.
I knew a lot of the right
You
people.
knew the
But I
right people. You're in the side of town in
yeah,
Tulsa where
just
you knew that you had some things going in your favor.
yeah, I knew some cool people, but also
Yeah.
they were just all very godly people who
Yes.
loved his work and loved his children and really wanted to get involved as much as they could.
Yeah.
Um, I think my mom and I realized we didn't write any of this down, so we were really pulling from the back of our brains. But I think before the event even happened, we had raised $6,000 to $8,000 through sponsorships alone. So that
Yeah.
was
It's
people
awesome.
who were like, we can't make it, but we would still like to donate. Um, but through these sponsorship checks coming in was also when I started to doubt because these checks would come in and they were only for $100. And I think for the first time I
Mm.
was like looking at this big number and I'm like, $100 is not a lot of 18 grand. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a second. Why are we doing 18 grand? Like, I was like, Mom, why did we do this? Like, we should have just said 5 grand. Like, there is no way I'm going to raise this much money. Like, we emailed
Yeah.
like 80 people and only got 6 grand. And I'm like, we're screwed. This is going to be
Yeah.
embarrassing. I was like, God, what the heck, bro? But my mom just kept telling me, like, the Lord will provide. Like,
Yeah.
He will take
Yeah.
care of you. That's not even the point. Like, even if we
Yeah.
don't
That's
raise
good.
18 grand, like, we have six. That's incredible.
Right.
Like, stop stressing. She's like, focus on the present. It'll all play out what it needs to.
Hmm.
So,
I feel like
yeah,
again, this is like the burden of caring,
right.
and then
It,
taking that burden of caring and putting it
mm,
on God. Like I feel like that's
yes,
another
he kept reminding
example
me
of
that
that.
it was, I needed to really just rely on him and stop feeling like it was me doing all this. But at the end of the
Right.
day, it was just us doing what he's asked us to do.
Yeah.
Um, she wanted me to get a good MC, so she made me go and sit down with this dad from my school and be like, I need you to be the person speaking at my fundraiser. I remember being so nervous and I was so mad she made me do that. But I'm glad she did because he really ended up being like the make or break. Like he was a very well-known guy within our community and he was had a personality that just was amazing and having him speak on behalf of these women and children in India was just an incredible idea because he did a
Mm.
great job. But let's see, I think I've covered most of kind of the lead up. We had people donate flowers. I mean, we just had people
Yeah.
randomly
Yeah.
calling us and being like, hey, I heard you're doing this thing. I've got this. Do you want it? I've
Yeah.
got
It's
this. Do you
cool.
want it? And
Well, and it's cool that your mom was supportive in providing
oh, yeah.
ideas and also like made you do the work and the asks. And
Oh,
so that I think that's some good parenting right there.
I wasn't
Some
thrilled about it at the time,
yeah.
but she did make me do most of the communicating with people. I had to go to
Yeah.
the hotel, the tour. I had to
I
send the
mean, what a
emails.
great set of experiences, honestly, because that's, I mean, it's
Hmm.
like you're learning entrepreneurship and leadership and sales
Right.
and,
Mm.
just showing up and being confident and about the thing that your vision, you're bringing your vision to life. So
Yes, sir.
it's cool.
Yeah, I was thankful she was very all in. It was kind of funny. And yeah, and then the day of came, and
Mm,
it was a first part of the day was a cocktail hour because we invited a lot of adults, but we had mocktails and had the adults come for the first 2 hours, had a raffle. I'm also a painter, so like had people put in money to buy one of my paintings, and
cool.
then we showed a video kind of about Sister India. We had the CEO come up and give a little spiel, and then we
Mm,
had our MC go around, and he low key just started guilt tripping people because he just knew everyone so well. He'd be like, "Hey, I know you bought a $800 hat last week. Like, you should be giving that much to this ministry too." Like, literally just calling people out. It was so funny. And I forget to mention this. I feel like this is the most important part, but it is only $25 to pay for the year of schooling that gets an Indian woman out of poverty by the time she graduates.
yeah. Wow.
$25, which is so easy to grasp at any
Yeah.
age and to sell. Because $100 that's four souls. Like you just
Mm,
saved four people with $100. So take that
yeah.
up a notch, 1,000, like that's, whatever.
40.
So yeah, it just was really easy to sell when you really broke it down to such a small number that anyone can
Yeah.
grasp. And when you attach that to kind of a life, it's
Mm,
just people also, I think, just willing to give more because of just the number correlation with the people that we were helping. And at
and
the
you
end
made
of the
that
night,
real for people though. Like you were communicating that and trying to help people
hmm
see, you
hmm
know, the impact it
yeah,
could have.
we were like, listen, like it's only $25. Like anyone can give that. That's a whole person that you get them through a year's worth
Right.
of schooling. We gave them the stats of how their life
Yeah.
would change when they graduated, and
Yeah.
it was
Um,
really cool.
I wanna paint the picture a little bit more. So this is in a hotel. How many people
Mhm.
are in the room?
Oh
And imagine
man.
a hotel banquet hall, right? Like you mentioned, people gave the decorations, like it's nice.
Yeah.
There's flowers, there's,
Yeah.
an MC, and how many people are
We had a
there?
DJ.
A DJ,
Oh yeah. Um,
the who's who of
so
Tulsa.
exactly. It was kind of a formal event too, so everyone was wearing like
Okay,
cocktail attire,
yeah,
fun dresses, heels, flashy, all of that. It was great. So we cannot remember for the life of us how many people were there. I want to say at least 100 and maybe at most 200, but somewhere
yeah,
in that range.
one to
Because
two
at that
hundred.
time, there were only 100 people in my high school. And so maybe all of them plus some change because a lot of parents came, but then a lot of people couldn't come. So
Yep,
around 100, 120 kind of people, which
yep,
really is not a lot when you look at the revenue that we brought in that night because it took it from 6,000 to 25 in like a
yeah.
4 hour period,
Wow,
which is really insane.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
it was
But
definitely a
that wasn't
nice
the
city.
that wasn't the end of the story, right? 25.
No, no, we raised 25
You're
and we
like, I'm
had,
getting there, Brian. Slow down.
well, we raised 28 and then we had a couple say they wanted to match it
Mm,
at the end of the night. So that ended up being like
mm,
$56,000,
mm,
something
mm.
like that. I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but it was around 56 grand by like midnight that night.
Yeah,
So the Lord took all of that
not
doubt I
bad
had.
for not bad for
He,
your birthday party.
no, he really, I felt so silly in that moment because I was like, here I am, stressing for months that I wouldn't even reach 18. And the Lord just said, watch me. He
Mm,
was like, you gave me your all, and watch me just take this and run with it. And 53 or $56,000 later, I'm sitting there on my floor in my bedroom at night, just like sobbing because I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And it always is weird because people ask me, like, how did you do it? And I can only look at them and say, it was God.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I feel like we were just reading Gideon the other day and how him and like 300 soldiers destroyed this entire army. And it was like,
Hmm.
how did they do it? But they didn't because like
Mm-hmm.
God did it all. And it doesn't matter how strategic I was with the sponsorships or the MC or selling really well. Like, I was only 18 years old, and I'll give myself some credit, but there's no way I can take all of it because
Yeah.
that just doesn't happen. There's no explanation besides the Lord was at work that night. He was in that room. He was
Mm.
really weighing on people's hearts to just love on other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So $56,000, enough to provide, a little over 2,000 women a year of schooling,
Yeah.
in India, and to impact their lives, over one
Mhm.
night, because, and what I love about your story, I mean, there's so many things to like unpack here, Charlotte, but, like it started, you know, 6, 7 years beforehand, and
Mhm.
a concert with Christian violin player,
Yeah, stuff like
you
that.
know, and that seed was planted, um, and it feels like nothing was kind of inevitable, like
Mm.
you know, like there were off ramps, like when it was hard, you could have lowered the goal from 18 to 5,000,
Mhm.
and or when your parents said no, you're not going to do this birthday party thing, you could have just said okay, you know I'm not going to do it then. And yet, you know it does feel like the Lord was kind of guiding you on this path. What did you learn from the experience? Like what else did you learn that you want to take with you
Mhm.
moving forward? As I'm sure you're leading Baylor IJM.
Yeah.
Um, you're still passionate about human trafficking. Um, Looking to what's in your career, what's next. What do you want to take forward with you from that experience,
Mhm.
in terms of like what you learned about advocating for something you really believe in?
I think let's see. One is just God is our provider.
Yeah.
And um and that can look like so many different things. That can look like just providing the peace to get through an exam, or that can look like providing $56,000 out of hopes and dreams. And he's also just so more faithful than we can even imagine. Like he just holds to his promises, and he never sticks us out into places without getting us through. And I have seen that
Yeah.
time after time. I saw it at my fundraiser. I saw it with him providing funding for me to even go to college. I mean, if he wants you to do something, he's going to get you there. And you spend so much time stressing and worrying about logistics, and this just isn't going to work. And he is just so much bigger than that. And I don't think I ever understood that until that night. And I still will say I understand it, and then something will happen, and I will doubt him, and I will doubt that he will come through. And he always does because he is so faithful.
Hmm.
And just it puts me in this place of such humility because I do not deserve it at
Hmm.
all. And he just for him to come through for me time after time again. And I'm sitting here now and we're about to do a fundraiser for IJM Baylor. And
Let's go. Still at it.
logistically, it's not looking good. And what I mean by that is like we've just done so well in the past, and there's just logically there's no way we're gonna hit that goal this year, and that's so okay. But it's just not I just have not had a chance to even sit and worry because I'm so content in the fact that like the Lord will be faithful, and
Hmm.
he will have us raise the amount that we need to raise. And like girls in my officer team will be like, I don't know if this is gonna
Yeah.
work, like are you stressed? And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
I have not
Yeah.
wasted one second stressing about this because it's a waste of time because God is sovereign. He already
Mm,
knows what's going to happen, and all he asks is that we give our all and point everything back to him and give him the glory at the end of the day. And
yeah.
I can do that. So I'm going to save some time this semester. I'm not going to stress about it. We're going to do the hard work and we're going to let the Lord kind of take it from there because he knows the exact amount we need to raise. And he knew the amount I needed to raise back in that November so many years ago. And there's just such a peace in knowing that he is going to always be faithful at the end of the day because
Yeah.
that's who gets that. Like, and it's such an overflowing peace. I don't know how to explain it.
Wow. Yeah. Our work, God's weight,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus's way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, there's something really profound here that you're articulating, Charlotte. This podcast is about learning to love like Jesus. And I think sometimes there is this tension with people like you, like me in many ways, who see suffering somewhere in the world and like really feel it pretty deeply. Um, I think, I don't know if that's a personality thing. I don't know if that's just like the way God wired, but feel it and then feel this like, why are we not talking about this? Why are we not doing something about this? Um, and then, but that acknowledgement of the suffering, I think, can be, um, for many young people, can be a driver towards burnout, can be a
Mm-hmm.
driver towards, you know, um, like poor mental health, um, like towards these kinds of things that, how do I describe it? Like, it's easy to carry the weight. And I think a lot of young people, they see problems in the world and they carry the weight of it. But what you're articulating is you see the problem, like you're passionate about it. You're willing to lose your social media followers over this issue. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. As am I, like this is not, I want people to care about this thing. I want the people to see it. Whether that's human trafficking or global poverty or, suffering in our own backyards and people's, sleeping on the streets or whatever. But to hold that and then to learn the lesson of joy, of peace, of faith, of contentment in the kingdom of God, of knowing that we're loved and we're a child of God, and then to have that identity be just stable apart from what we do in this world in terms of justice, in terms of mercy work. That actually counterintuitive, like it seems like there's a little bit of a contradiction of like to be like a really happy person while you're fighting against the worst forms of violence.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not a contradiction. Actually, the best way to fight against the worst forms of violence is to be a happy person in God
Mm-hmm.
and to not carry the weight of it. And that actually allows for freedom, for creativity. I think it leads to better work. I think it leads to more sustainable service. Like, is what I'm saying making sense? Like, I actually think there's this like paradox here. And this is kind of like a paradox we see, I think, in the Bible, even in Paul, he's like, I'm sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. Like I'm like suffering, but I'm happy. I'm like seeing the bad things in the world unflinchingly, and I have this hope that is unassailable in the gospel. And those things are just both true. And actually, even if it seems like a contradiction, it is the hope and the joy and the peace that we have of knowing we don't carry the weight that allows us to be really good at
Mm-hmm.
advocating for a cause for those who are
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I feel like I just
No,
see
yeah.
that in your story and in your kind of
Yeah.
posture in life. Yeah.
It was it was hard to think and
Yes.
be 18 and see this weight, but it makes me what you just said makes me think of something my mom used to always tell me during this period before the fundraiser. And she would say, "Do you not realize that Jesus wants justice for these people just as much, not or just more than you do?" if
Yeah.
not more. And that would really just calm me down. Like, I
Mm.
want this for them, but he wants it on another level that I can't even fathom. And there's just peace in knowing that these are his children. He's already like he's already doing the burden, he's doing the work, and he's invited
Yeah.
us into it, obviously, but it's just not our weight to carry because he
Yeah.
wants it more than us at the end of the day.
So good, Charlotte. That's so good. Uh, as you're kind of looking at what's next after Baylor, do you want to do something in like anti-trafficking, or what are you hoping to do after college?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I could see myself doing anything else. Like, I don't know exactly what. Like, I would never be satisfied doing literally anything without just a sprinkle of anti-human trafficking work in my life. What that looks like now, that is kind of the season of life I am in where I'm exploring kind of what specifically the Lord does have for me. But I do know that I will be fighting the fight many years to come. I, yeah, I couldn't see myself, unfortunately, doing literally anything else. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Does that mean law school? Gosh, there's so many
Oh,
people in IJM who want to go to law school.
you know
Gym
what?
chapters.
There are amazing people who are so good at stuff like that, but I definitely was gifted with more of a creative brain. So I will
Mm.
probably be taking more of a just creative thinker versus a analytical policy creator. And I do think there is a need for both,
Yeah.
but I will probably be taking more of a film or fundraising route just because it just
Yeah.
seems has blessed me in that area a bit more than in my maybe law school abilities. But hey, you never know. He could still send me. He tends to surprise me. So,
Well, there's few things more powerful than a well-told story.
mm,
And I do think that stories have this way of kind of getting under people's skin and actually
mm,
changing people.
yeah.
And so it would be cool if you made films and things of that nature that brought awareness to this reality that slavery does in fact still exist and is a global problem and a national problem. You know, it's in the U.S. And it's around the world.
Sure.
Charlotte, this has been so fun. Thank you for just taking time after what sounds like a late night with your friends, and just sharing your story with me and with our listeners. Yeah, I'm just very encouraged and feel like it's encouraging to hear the whole arc of your story and just the wisdom you've acquired of not just, hey, there are people, you know, in the world who are suffering, and I need to kind of feel that to some extent and kind of reckon with that, but moving even past that stage and to a stage of action and creativity, um, and but then even moving past that stage and to a stage of action and creativity without carrying the weight.
Mm,
And I think this is really the call in a lot of ways of what it means to love like Jesus is like, yes, to care, yes, to love the people in front of us, like, yes, to love the people who are not in front of us. Like anyone made in the image of God, you know, can be a person who we love and we're called to love. And yet to do that while having our identity secure in the Lord and, you know, not trying to do justice to justify ourselves, but actually believing the gospel and therefore doing justice with just joy and lightness and freedom. And I think that is actually a decent model of spiritual formation for what it means to love generously like Jesus. So I feel like this conversation helped me even just kind of like seeing those things in your story and then some of the other stories of people we've had on the show, you know, seeing elements of that in my own life. And it's not totally linear. I'm not trying to say this is linear. It's kind of a cycle. And
right.
but I just feel like that's really helped me put some language on that. But yeah, as we're closing up here, Charlotte, what's one way that you are learning to love like Jesus in this season of life?
Um, I'm learning that to really love like Jesus, you need to have a deeper understanding of what that means. Because love is such a broad term and it can be formed into many different actions. And I've just really been having to draw nearer to the scripture and kind of Jesus's walk here on earth and what him loving other people looked like. And I feel like having a better understanding of that is really going to help me love people here on earth at a deeper lew, because there's loving someone and then there's loving them, like you said, like Jesus. And those are two different things. And to be able to do that, I'm really trying to just have more wisdom and a deeper understanding of what that even looks like. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. So maybe to love like Jesus, we have to get to know Jesus and who he is and how he how he loved.
I think it sounds maybe silly and simple, but it's just you need the foundation, and I think we all need to take a period in our life to build that, or we will get burnt out, because loving like Jesus is hard because we are human.
Yeah.
If you don't really know why you're doing it and who you're trying to be like, I don't think you're going to last very long.
That's good. That makes me think, like, with this podcast, I've been talking to a lot of at this point, like, people who started stuff when they were teenagers to care for other people. I've talked to nonprofit leaders. I've talked to philanthropists. I wonder if we can talk to some theologians and some people who just study the person of Christ. It's like a field of study, right? Like Christology. I don't know. I didn't go to a Christian private school, so I don't know the exact.
Time here on earth. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that would be a really interesting conversation of how did Jesus love? And I don't know. The first thing that's coming to my mind, and maybe that's just because I have 3 young kids, I feel like a little bit sleep deprived right now, is that Jesus took a lot of naps, and he would escape from people and just be alone with God in prayer. A lot of rest. And if we're gonna love like Jesus, I think that also means resting like Jesus. I don't know why that's coming to mind right now, but that I think it plays into what we were talking about of serving and loving and caring for others from a place of joy and peace. Well, Charlotte, so fun. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You can learn more about International Justice Mission and the reality of modern-day slavery at ijm.org. The invitation to grow this week is to be on the lookout for high school or college students in your community during this year-end giving season, and find those students who are raising money for a great cause and make a donation to support both that cause and those students. And if you have any feedback on this episode, you can reach me at brian@simplecharity.org. Thanks for joining me on the Simple Charity Podcast. Next time, I interview Boyd Bailey, the president of the Georgia chapter of National Christian Foundation, who recently released a new book called The Power of Generosity. I had the honor of writing a review for that book, and I'm excited to have Boyd on the show to share more about it. I hope you'll join me as we continue to learn to love generously like Jesus. Have a great rest of your day.